everybody, my name is Sheila SL Reads, and today I'm going to be doing my very late April wrap-up and May TBR. So I read so many books in April. I don't know how, because it was like nearing the end of the semester, but I had so many graphic novels to read. Like, I got super into them. I bought some over spring break. I'm just going to show you all of this one graphic novel series that I read, because I read some of them during April and some of them I've already finished in May, and so I'm just going to show you all of them. The series that I got super into this month was Saga. I have all of the volumes, which is volumes 1 through 8. The 9th one is coming out in like October or something. So this follows these two people, which are Alana and Marco, and they are enemies in this giant like galactical war. Like, it crosses the entire galaxies, like all of these planets. One of them is from this planet and the other one is from the orbiting moon of it, and the wars on these planets have since like moved and into other planets. It's still the same factions fighting each other, and so while Alana is in the army, she is tasked with guarding this prisoner who's Marco, and they end up escaping and falling in love and having a child named Hazel, who is the baby right here. And so a lot of it is just like them trying to outrun everybody who's trying to kill them, because like they're not supposed to be able to like have children together. It kind of shows that there can be peace between their two peoples, and it's just very intense. It's a big space opera, dramatic, amazing. This is so heavy to hold up. And so this follows them and their allies and their enemies, the people who are trying to find them and track them, and then people who might be enemies and become allies, and vice versa. And it's just so interesting. It's so amazing. I love the art style. It's by the same creator as Paper Girls, which I read at the way end of 2017, and so I just think it's amazing. You should definitely read it. I've heard about this for so long and I never picked it up because I was like, oh, it's expensive, but for some reason I bought all of them because I have no impulse control. April, I read Shah and the End of Time by Roshni Chokshi. Roshni Chokshi is one of my favorite authors, and this is the first book in Rick Riordan's new imprint. So Rick Riordan, if you don't know, is the author of the Percy Jackson books, the Kane Chronicles, everything really. There was one about Norse mythology, one about Roman mythology, and I've only read a few of them. I have not read all of his books. His new imprint, publishing books by people from these cultures, writing about their own cultures instead of Rick Riordan writing about cultures he doesn't know. Like, he writes about the ancient ones, but these are ones that are still present today. And so this is about Hindu mythology, and it follows a girl who lives in a museum. Her mother is the curator of the museum, and she's always been told not to touch this one lamp in the museum and not to light it, and she doesn't know why, but she does one day because she wants to be popular, and she is a child, and she wants people to not hate her at school when they find out that she's lying and she doesn't actually live in like a mansion like the rest of them. So lighting that lamp awakens the Sleeper, who is this big bad, like about to trigger the end of the world kind of guy. She finds out that she is the reincarnation of a Pandava brother, who are these heroes from Hindu mythology. She has to team up with another one, and she has to go on this big adventure through different worlds and pockets between worlds and try and save the day. Art on the cover of this also is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. I love Roshni Chokshi. I love her writing, and I think this is so cool. This is going to be a quartet, and I loved it so much. I cannot wait for the rest. As many of you know, I have been in a Shakespeare class for this past semester, so I got to read Macbeth in April, and Macbeth is my favorite play. It still is my favorite play, even though reading Hamlet a few months ago did make me like put that as my second favorite. This is still my favorite. I ended up watching the 2015 movie of it recently, and I thought it was amazing. Like, I've never seen a movie version of it. I've seen it in play form. I'm going to see it in another play in a few weeks, and it's just so good. It's my favorite play. Like, I just love it. Next in April, I read 2 Scott Pilgrim graphic novels. So I have seen the Scott Pilgrim movie. It's actually on my movie shelf over there, and I ended up watching it a few weeks ago with my friends, and after watching it I was like, well, we're going to the bookstore, might as well pick up some of these because I've never read them before. It's just so similar to the movie. Like, if you see the movie, it literally just looks like a comic book. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, this is the same artist as Seconds, which I read at the beginning of this year, so clearly I can only follow like a very minimal amount of like artists and creators of graphic novels. Can't branch out that much. Although I did branch out, because in last month's wrap-up I was talking about how I was reading Fence, which is a graphic novel series. I don't really like it that much. Like, I don't really know why I'm still reading it. Like, it's about fencing. I thought there was going to be LGBT representation of some sort. There is in like one minor character, but I was not expecting that. It's just not all that interesting. I don't know. It's by the author of Captive Prince, which is a book that I've read and I've liked. It's about fencing, which I don't really know anything about, but I thought it might be like Check Please, which is a webcomic about hockey, which teaches you about hockey, but I guess I'm not all that interested in fencing. Maybe that's the issue. I don't really know, but I feel like you pay so much money just to get like a very small amount. Like it's serialized, like it's comic graphic novel style. I'm just not really enjoying it. I don't think I'm going to continue with the series, but I read the 5th one this month. So now moving into my May TBR. So some of these books I have already read and some of them I'm planning to read very soon. So the first book that I read was The Winter's Tale by Shakespeare. So it turns out there are actually 4 genres of Shakespeare plays. There are comedies, tragedies, histories, and romances, which is not like because there's romance in it. It's just like the style of the novel, the way it's like a tragic comedy. So the first 3 acts are tragedy and then the last 2 are comedy. This one was very strange. It was not my favorite. I didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped to. I still thought it was interesting. I think there are interesting parts of it. There's a lot of symbolism and allusions and it's very pretty. Next I read A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas, which is the novella that's supposed to connect the main series and the spin-off novels. I did not like this all that much. I mean, I was kind of expecting not to like it because I didn't really like A Court of Wings and Ruin, which was the 3rd book in the trilogy, and I feel like I'm kind of like disenchanted with Sarah J Maas at this point. I feel like a lot of people are, but I wanted to give it a chance. I wanted to read it because I do want to read the spin-off novels at some point whenever they are coming out. I do like some of her stories, I like some parts of it, but this novella was just kind of annoying. It didn't really have any plot whatsoever. It was mostly just like domestic and saying where everybody is at this point in their lives. There was a lot of slut shaming in it, which I did not enjoy at all. I had looked online, looked on Tumblr to see what things people were saying before I actually read it. So they do slut shame Nesta a lot because she's clearly going through like a lot of stuff. Like spoiler alerts for if you have not read A Court of Wings and Ruin, and also spoiler alerts for this book, because I guess that also counts. Her dad just died, she is going through a lot of stuff, and she is kind of like distancing herself from the inner circle. Like she doesn't want to be around them, she doesn't want to live with them, she just kind of wants to be alone. They're kind of acting as if like, oh, this is just Nesta being Nesta. Like they're like, oh, she's just sleeping around, and they mention it in like really weird ways. They like say it offhanded, or they're not being like explicitly or overtly awful to her, but they're just like, oh, like who are you going home with tonight, and just like petty little like things like that, and I did not like it. I thought it was gross. I've seen people saying like they were mad because Reese was like super like sex driven in this book. Like I don't like any of Sarah J Maas's sex scenes in all honesty. I think they're really irritating and very weirdly written. I'm not a fan. I thought that there were some interesting parts, but mostly it just did not have a plot. It was mostly just like fluffy. There was smut. It was mostly just like I'm pretty sure it was just to get money, and I didn't think it was worth it. So the book that I'm currently reading is called Still Lives by Maria Hummel. It is fantastic. It is a book of the month book. This is just the book jacket because the book is somewhere over there. But it is so interesting because it is about an art heist, but instead of the art getting stolen, the artist gets kidnapped, and I'm like still in the beginning of it. So they are like, she's like missing. She's supposed to be showing up to this art show. It's an opening for her new art collection, which is called Still Lives. It's very interesting because it's about a bunch of women who have gotten murdered in history and how people are so obsessed with that, but like they don't actually understand the gruesome truth of it, and like they just romanticize it. I love the writing style, I love the descriptions, everything is fantastic, and already nervous about the mystery. Like I'm already like, oh, maybe this person is like responsible, maybe this person isn't. I really have no idea who it's gonna be, and I'm sure it's gonna be a shock. Most of my mystery reading and thriller reading is Nancy Drew, which is not really that mysterious or thrilling. Like it's just kind of like, woo, no one's gonna actually die, we hope. This one, I'm kind of nervous. And the final book that I want to read in May is I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. This book just came out at the beginning of this month, and these are the new covers for her book. I have the old covers for her books, the old UK covers, but she just released new ones that they all kind of look like this. They have the same font, then they have like color with like these drawings on it, and I'm very excited to get them at some point. I don't know when I'm gonna purchase those. So this book follows Angel and Jimmy. Angel is a fan of this huge band called The Ark, and she is going to see them in concert. This takes place over a week, and then Jimmy, he's their front man. Whatever that means. I don't know what instrument that means. And I think he's like negotiating a new contract. This is a lot of representation for mental health, LGBT characters. Link down below the video where Alice Oseman was talking about this, because I actually tweeted her and asked her the question about what kind of representation was in this, and she gave it to me. And I was like, wow, would you look at that? But one of the main characters is Muslim, and the other main character is a trans boy, so there's some representation right there. So that is it for my April wrap-up and May TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you are reading this month. I can't even say what you're reading next month because it is already next month. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!